was about to say, just waiting on YouTube. Once again, hey, it's your boy M.K.S back in another video. In part, I was saying, talking about nice life stories. In part one, in the intro, I forgot to say something that might be a bit of a trivial thing, a nice life story, so to speak, or maybe not. But I was going to say, can you believe it? I was actually cold, and here in the UK, or whatever the difference is, it's been one of the hottest Mays on record. I think one of the hottest days, at least for May, on record. We get those odd hot days. Yeah, every now and then my back gets really cold. It's like my back has got a cooling system or something like that. I suppose some people would love to have that, but it's like it's got air conditioning. But then again, my body internally probably feels the same as a quote unquote normal person. Also, I get really itchy. I think that's when a doctor told me once, because I was really itching, and it probably sounds like a strange thing to go to the doctor for a while back, but as it happens. But when I went to see the doctor, they told me that it's when your body sweats and gets really itchy, and because I don't feel the heat, I wear, or I don't notice the difference between different. I'm a bit dumb. I don't really notice the difference between nylon and cotton or whatever, so I wear the wrong clothes for the heat. But even I'm feeling a bit warmer now. But my body every now and then still gets cold, certainly my back, although it feels a bit what they call muggy in the UK, which means it's probably going to thunderstorm. It's likely to do so. Hopefully not. No, I'm sure it will eventually. I'm a bit of a chicken when it comes to thunderstorms. But yeah, what I was going to say in part one, the intro, was about how, believe it or not, I'm actually cold, even though it's one of the hottest days. Well, it's the hottest day so far, I'm sure, or one of them, and which is not saying much, but because we just come past like winter or whatever season it was. But yeah, I know, nice life story. So to speak, I say obviously sarcastically. But yeah, I seem to have like a air conditioner on my back that always makes me cold even when it's hot most of the time. But yeah, it feels a bit muggy, and I still struggle to sleep, and I get those itches. And dare I say, I put this delicately, certainly those a certain anatomy of your body, which is a bit more private, gets itchy because the skin rubs in itself. Apparently, that's what the doctor told me, because I was really nervous about it. And he goes, "You're the third or fourth person to come to see me with that condition." But on a serious note, because yeah, it's because when it gets hot, it gets really itchy. The skin gets really itchy. So I guess my body reacts in the same way, but I suppose I have probably a sensory issue. I don't know if autistic people have that sort of thing, whatever. But I seem to be the only one who can wear like jumpers, or even sometimes jackets in weather when I be like, "Oh, you're not hot." I even joked today, saying like, "It must be warm if I'm down to a jumper." That's what Mum said, "Why wear a jumper?" But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So those nice life stories. So before I get on to the second part of this list, I wanted to ask. I suppose I briefly touched on this in part one, but I wonder if anyone, whether you're Eurasian or not, or whether you're just like an ally, you want to support us, or whatever you want to do, an act for charity or whatever. And for a call, it could be good for your PR or whatever, for whatever reason. Like even religious groups, charities, NGOs, businesses, political groups, or whatever around the world, or whatever it might be. I'd love for anyone to. I suppose for Eurasians, I'd love to know how many Eurasians would be interested in having a football team, or football teams if we get enough members who are interested in playing. Some might be interested in helping to run or organise it, and some might be able to invest in or sponsor at least amongst the Eurasian community itself around the world. So I'd love to have teams for Eurasians and different groups of Eurasians like Kristangs, Indos, Anglo-Indians, Hapas, Hafus, and any other Eurasian group, and maybe Blasians as well. Blindians, part black and part Indian included. So yeah, for different mixed race groups perhaps, and some for like mixed race people generally, and some for Eurasians generally perhaps. But seeing how many teams we can get together, obviously, we'd have to see how many people would be interested in playing and how participating, how many have experience on coaching or on helping with organising it, and or sponsoring it or whatever, and how we can. I suppose it's got to be able to trusted sort of thing where we know we can avoid scams and things like that to think about it. So anyone who can give me this idiot here any tips on how to do it, being a bit of a moron, whatever that means. But yeah, so I'm way behind schedule, so I'm going to try and crack on the list. But yeah, any Eurasians who are interested in playing, helping to organise, helping to sponsor, or just generally be involved in anything you can do to help, if you would be interested in helping put together a Eurasian team, or as many Eurasian teams as possible. And again, any potential allies or people who just want to support for whatever reason, whether that's for PR purposes or an act of charity or whatever it might be. As I say, it could be mosques, churches, or any other groups, or businesses, political parties, or whatever that might want to help. But anyway, onto the list. These are pointers number 11 to 20. Sorry, I'm a bit long-winded. I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah, I'll try and get to the point. So number 11, I'd love to see how Eurasians could change the world. From a selfish point of view, what we could contribute to town teams like AC Milan, Inter Milan, Roma, and the town team generally. Italian football, how we could help to help to market it, brand it better, and help to practice, and help Italy to develop great players, as well as Italian club teams to have more funding to buy the best possible players, and hopefully one day overtake the EPL and La Liga. That kind of thing. Also, as I said in part one, I'd love for Eurasians to get into football, especially. But I'd love to find out about, celebrate, support, encourage, and just generally help and benefit Eurasians in terms of being inventors, ideas people, entrepreneurs, investors, or whatnot. Although ultimately, I'd love for us to be able to give our money away personally. As I said in part one, these are my personal opinions, and other Eurasians might disagree with me, but I'd love for us to be philanthropists and give away. If I take it literally, not all our money, because also we need a place to live, and obviously that costs money. Money is important, really. I don't know how people say a job's important, but money isn't. Like my dad used to say, money isn't that important, or money isn't everything. But then saying getting a job and all that kind of thing. But if I had money, I would never do a 9 to 5. Or if I did, it would only be as an experience sort of thing, just to see what it's like. But I want to be able to quit at any time. Anyway, I'm quite a bit off topic, but I'd love for us to be able to give away most of our money and just live quite a frugal life. Although I'm a bit of a walking contradiction, because I sort of like to hoard papers and all that kind of thing, lined paper and that kind of thing. But at the same time, in other ways, I'd love for us to be minimalists, like rather than having nice bikes, rather than having nice bicycles, motorbikes, cars, or big houses or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. I'd love for us to be philanthropists, but again, that's my personal opinion. And once again, how we can change the world, hopefully for the better, through philanthropy, feeding the world, helping provide clean water, fundraising, helping to build shelter for the homeless, and all those sort of things. But I was going to say, actually, I forgot. Talking about walking, I wonder if we could have walking groups and that kind of thing, keep fit groups. I'd love to visit Eurasian communities in the future, and I'd love to go with my fellow Eurasians, as I to Italy, to share ideas on football, and also to Glasgow Celtic, and also to travel together, maybe get things in bulk, get things cheaper, and enjoy the littler things in life rather than having to have all the finer things all the time. Making the most out of little, I guess. So yeah, I guess again, being a walking contradiction. I'm not a minimalist. I am a maximist, or whatever. I am a hoarder and all that kind of thing, but that's off paper and that kind of thing. But I'm not really into material things. So personally, I'd love for us to give our money away and help others. I thought in the past, would I rather have a big house and loads of cars and whatever, or would I rather help a homeless guy in India or Nigeria or whatever? But yeah, seeing also how we can help each other to change and that kind of thing. Thanks, Yolanda. But yeah, sorry if I'm so long-winded. I'm going to move on that note. I hope I didn't forget anything as usual. But moving on to point number 12, I hope we can encourage each other, and again help others tackle bullying, encourage people to be nice to each other, be kind to each other. Someone said to me, "Be kind to yourself," but it's hard to say that what that would entail, because I'd love to just eat junk food and drink drinks all day. But then I guess you could say that's not being kind to myself, but it does feel a lot better. If I could do a deal with my maker, one of the things I would say is to be able to have junk food. I know I've said that in the past, but yeah, maybe I'm not really into it, like boxing, kickboxing, martial arts, and all that kind of thing. But again, different Eurasians might have different opinions. Different mixed race people might have different opinions, and also some might say it's good to be able to defend yourself or even defend vulnerable people or whatever, or both or whatever. So for some they might say it's a good idea. I love to read from other Eurasian and other mixed Asian or even mixed race people generally to say, I know I'm mainly focused on Eurasians, but similar could be applied for, in some cases the same sort of thing could be applied for other mixed Asians and even other mixed race people generally. But yeah, they might say about learning martial arts, keeping fit, going to the gym. Part of me is too lazy to go to the gym, but I'm surprised they even get to the gym, to be fair. Moving on, number 13, I think it's from a selfish point of view, again, benefiting Italian football. I'd love to go to Milan and talk about how we could benefit AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, and Italian football generally, like Serie A, made in Italy, and that kind of thing, to help Italy produce great players and help Italian clubs, as I say, to fundraise to improve them from a selfish point of view. I also think, for point number 13, is like some of the fears I have, like, would I ever get my ideas off the ground? Will there ever be a Eurasian FC? If so, how long will it take? Thinking about things that could go wrong, heaven forbid. Obviously, hoping they won't, but assuming that obviously not everything's going to go right all the time. Also, I think like horror movies and thrillers, given there's a Monday and thing like Movie Mondays. I've even seen like music videos of like scary and creepy videos, scary, creepy, macabre videos, and that kind of thing for music. But yeah, seeing what creepy designs we can make, or whatever, scary, creepy, macabre designs we can make, perhaps. But yeah, some of the problems we might encounter. Number 14, once you address some of those problems, you can perhaps begin to at least attempt to solve some of those problems, or at least address them. Sorry, once you address them, you might be able to address them. Once you address them, you might be able to take them on. Sorry. That's one thing I wonder. I suppose I could have hay fever, but I guess I could have dust allergies because I'm holding the papers. But yeah, that's a OCD I have. And for some Eurasians, there might even be minimalists. I think it'd be good if we had a life devoted to charity and solving problems and that kind of thing. But again, these are my personal views. Number 15, I talked about how other Eurasians and other mixed Asians and mixed race people perhaps, and those are things in common with me, maybe even. I guess I could add, hopefully could help. I'd love to be able to encourage them to support my 5 causes and my goals as part of those, my aims and goals and objectives, like travelling to Italy and fundraising for Italian football and helping Italian football to improve, similar to Celtic, supporting libertarian parties, libertarian principles around the world, tackling the military-industrial complex and that kind of thing, perhaps legally, as long as we do it legally. Controversial one, I know, but challenging like forced conscription and that kind of thing, and tackling poverty and that kind of thing. But also, I would love to support my fellow Eurasians and again other mixed Asians, and also again Blasians or whatever other group, and also mixed race people generally to achieve their goals and dreams. And I suppose I could say it's point number 11, but like discourage law breaking and that kind of thing. Yeah, that was number 15, I think. But yeah, moving on. Point number 16, I'd love for us to discuss and have committees and think tanks, brainstorms, networks, cooperatives, or whatever you want to call them, use those terms interchangeably. Basically, a group of people, in this case Eurasians and possibly other mixed Asians and maybe mixed race people, generally sometimes to discuss what are the best things to benefit our community and also to help others, help us to help others, to help ourselves and help others. So yeah, I suppose on my bucket list, I'd love to visit Italian football teams and support them, as I say, including with Eurasians, especially. I'd love to get sponsorship and that kind of thing to travel and to work with Italian football, as I say, to improve it. So I'd love to visit Italy, but if I went to Italy, I wouldn't really, personally, I wouldn't go to see the sites or anything else like that. I'd just go to do coaching and talk about my strategies for improving football. And it'd be interesting to show what Eurasians could contribute, as I say. I think I meant the same point number 11 as well. I kind of touched on it, but what we could contribute, could you just imagine, for instance, if Eurasians could help Italian football get back to number 1, and if we could help Celtic to improve even more, benefit Eurasian parties and libertarian parties and that kind of thing, promote libertarianism, freedoms and that kind of thing. But yeah, also want for our own community, and I'd love to go and visit Eurasian groups again if I could travel to Malaysia, India to visit my fellow Anglo-Indians, Indonesia, Singapore, and places like that, and to visit Eurasians and other mixed race groups, especially Eurasians, I guess, in and around and across Asia. I suppose they would be the biggest mixed race groups. There might also be Malaysians as well, and maybe we can collaborate together on social media and visit each other's communities, supporting each other, learning about each other's way of life and culture and that kind of thing, trying each other's foods, working together on music, movies, careers generally, getting into the modelling industry, for instance, or whatever it might be. Again, I suppose I'm thinking of the ones that be them because it's a Monday. But yeah, I'd love to see more Eurasian and other mixed race models, I guess. But yeah, I'd love to go and visit, as I say, Christangs, Indos, my fellow Anglo-Indians and others, and build monuments and things like that, which I hope to come to in more details in parts 3 and 4. And in which case, point number 17, a while back I heard that a mad guy called Sam Altman, I suppose I'm mad as well, I can't really say much, at least he's mad and intelligent, I'm going to be mad and dumb or whatever, but he said that we're going to need, and some people might think he was talking hyperbole or just trying to make, a bit like Elon Musk, like have, what's it called, not necessarily rage bait, well maybe rage bait, like trolling people, but something to put him in the public eye, I guess. But he talked about 7 trillion being invested into AI, and I thought, could you imagine if they were going to invest 7 trillion into Anglo-Indians? If we could, as Anglo-Indians specifically, could use the fact that we are the acronym Anglo-Indian AI to market ourselves as it's like similar to or same as artificial intelligence, the same acronym anyway, or same initial or whatever. Same acronym / initial. But yeah, I thought also Anglo-Indians learning about AI, maybe Eurasians generally learning how to use AI, how to use AI for business, how to use AI to get careers, or vice versa, and whatever they can use AI to do, and maybe create robots that make life easier for others. But I thought it'd be hard to imagine if they invested 7 trillion into Anglo-Indians, but if they did, I think we should use that money to support the homeless and poor people generally, and to make the world a better place, including for, let's say, Anglo-Indians in India who might be suffering from poverty. One thing I thought of is like mixed messages. Could be a little play on words to say like mixed race people lobbying, let's say, for instance, the Indian government to give us more rights like they used to do in the past. 3 nations I really wish to thank as Eurasians. 3 nations I think Eurasians should thank. One is Malaysia, because they seem to have given us our own spaces and didn't discriminate against us. I could be wrong, but I think Malaysia's one. India's another, because they looked after Anglo-Indians. They even gave us seats in Parliament. So I think we should double thank them and reward them if we can. And Singapore, which used to be part of Malaysia, and also, from my point of view, was founded by a dyslexic guy as well, as it happens. Side note. Yeah, if we had if Anglo-Indians, if somehow we got 7 trillion in investment, I think we should give that money to the less fortunate and that kind of thing. But actually, if Anglo-Indians as a community got 7 trillion to spend, I thought, because I used my imagination because it's point number 17, but if we got that kind of money, I would love to donate 20% each to each of my 5 causes. So from a selfish point of view, the town football teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, and AC Milan, and Roma especially, but town football development generally, including for the national team, 20% for Celtic, and then libertarian parties around the world, and then those from former colonies, including parts of Asia especially, and towards tackling poverty and alleviating suffering and spreading peace, love, joy, hope, and happiness. But yeah, it'd be hard to imagine, but a part of me would love to see as well, talking about football again, there being different teams like Indos, Christangs, Happers, Afus, Anglo-Indians like myself and whatnot, playing football in Italy, as I say, and with Celtic, and like trying different skills and having different tournaments And for some reason, I imagine the Indos be the most skillful. I don't know why. I don't think Anglo-Indians, my own Pacific Eurasian mix. But moving on, number 18, again, I'd love for us to make the world a better place for people, especially children and the vulnerable, and also for animals and for nature, which is a bit of a dilemma because of my hoarding with, like, you can say, one, hoarding gets in people's way, and secondly, like, especially with paperwork, it takes trees down. So it's a big dilemma for me, so I'm trying to find a way to get the balance right, I guess. Number 19, I'd love for us to, as I say, to thank Malaysia, India, and Indonesia, and to support STEM education for those nations and also for African nations and Asia as well. And number 20, just like I said towards the end of part 1, in point number 10, the saying is respect your elders, but that's my least favourite saying. I'm actually the oldest out of all my siblings, so if I was a hypocrite, I guess I could use my age as an advantage, but I would be a big hypocrite. I would love for us to have sugar mamas and sugar daddies as well. So I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite in some ways, I guess. But each their own. I guess everyone has their own choices in life. I guess we make choices in life. What am I trying to say? I don't know. But I love to support younger people more, and again, the most vulnerable, and also nature, animals, that kind of thing. Which again is a bit of a dilemma because of my hoarding of papers. But on that note, I'm probably going around in circles, and thanks to Yolanda for commenting. I was going to say, if anyone comments on YouTube, I won't be able to see it because I'm focusing on the Facebook screen for today. Meta Mondays. But anyway, yeah. Also Mad Mike Mondays. But yeah, I'm out anyway. Peace on that.